right. All right. So we're here today, Lydia. I am so excited. We're here to gather your testimony. You have been working with Arrow's Edge for a while, and God has done such amazing things. I just could not wait to capture all these, to just make a record of all that's happened in your life in this season. So I'd love to start with just a couple of questions. Like, what brought you to Arrow's Edge in the first place? How did you land in this place?
So I was in another group with a couple ladies, and they mentioned you and Arrow's Edge and the Unshakable Life community, and they said you would just really love it. And so I did. I checked it out, and I loved the community. And at that moment, I was at a point in my life where I decided to open a business after God dropped the idea in my heart. And I decided to dive in the deep end and swim. But I knew that I could not do it alone. And I knew I needed different leadership, different coaching to kind of help me along. And so I reached out to Rebecca and we talked, and there was understanding on her part and also directive of how we can make changes to help support me in this business venture as a business owner, but also as a person to lead well. And that's what I was looking for, because I knew I'd never been in business for myself, never had employees. All of it was brand new, and I knew I couldn't do it without some help. So that's what brought me.
I love that you recognize, hey, we don't do this stuff alone. We're not meant to do this stuff alone.
Mm.
So you were able to say, hey, I want somebody to partner with me to make sure I do this the best way possible. I absolutely love that. So,
And I,
go
oh,
ahead.
well, I think too, it was a time when knowing that investing in myself, changing, was going to impact everybody around me. And it was worth the investment for me at that moment. I knew it would bring a harvest. Yeah.
I love that. So what brought you that certainty that you knew that if you would invest in yourself right now and it would produce the results you're looking for? What gave you assurance that this was the right investment for you?
I would say first it was Holy Spirit direction. It was just that gut instinct of it's now or never. And it was just the right fit. And I knew it was kind of like a pass or fail. Like, if I don't just do this and invest in me for the future of others, not just me, it would be successful. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense. I love it. All right. So if you were to kind of look back on all that you've learned so far and all that's happened since you decided to embark on this journey, you're like, I'm not going to do this alone. And you wanted to make sure that you showed up as the best you in the midst of building this business, which I just love, because a lot of people, they're like, I want to launch my ministry. I want to launch my business. I want to, make this big impact in the world. But a lot of times they're not doing that emotional groundwork that's necessary to be able to sustain the work that they're creating. And so you're putting in the work ahead, and you're being proactive about your own growth, which is reaping a tremendous harvest. And so I'd love people to hear a little bit about your story. So if you would review what you've learned so far and you'd write your own success story, what would it say?
It would probably say I started off with fear and trembling. And literally, we don't realize sometimes how much fear is in ourselves, whether it's fear of what people think, fear of failing, fear of losing relationships, just so many fears. And taking that, and with the coaching and the changing of the mindsets, rewriting the thinking, has really built faith. It's built assurance. It's built courage to keep taking the next step, to know that I'm not alone. And in moments when I feel alone, maybe I do need some alone time. And there's like, I'm not afraid of that either now. Like, understanding that boundaries and relationships and building relationships, letting go of relationships that aren't healthy. All of that is good. And we get to do those things. We get to analyze. We get to let go of some things and bring these other things on that will help us. It actually becomes something to look forward to, and we get to. It's not something to shy away from and be afraid or just procrastinate about. We have the power to change things, and the idea of just sitting back and letting life happen to us is not really living. And I think that stepping out and allowing our minds to be shifted and our beliefs to be questioned is very valuable, and allowing the Holy Spirit to transform us into what He really designed is, man, it's a home run. So
That's beautiful. The verse that is over Arrow's Edge is be totally transformed by the renewing of your mind, you know? And I saw so much of that shift inside of you when we were working together. I'd love to hear a couple of your stories about, I remember with this one session that we had that you were talking about something that you were facing, and then you had to change your mind. You were looking at trying to reach some goals and trying to reach something that you had set, and you had one change of mind.
yep.
And that very next week, you got a breakthrough. Could you just tell a little bit about
Yeah,
that story? I'd love everybody
sure.
to hear that.
Yeah. I think I know what you're referring to and the verse, because in one of our coachings, the questions that you had me really that provoked my thinking to realizing I have conformed to so many things. I've conformed to what other people want. I've conformed to what I thought was right or expectations. And it's the transforming that is really what the word says we have to have. It's the transformation, which comes from the inside out. Conforming is the outside in. So, in that scenario you were referring to, I had actually placed what I thought was a great goal over in where for all of me and myself and the employees to see it. And it was a monetary goal of a certain amount. And after working with you that week, we were having a big event on that Saturday. And I came in and I looked at that and I ripped it off the wall. And I said, no, I am not going to limit God. I am not going to limit my beliefs, my thinking. This could be a better day. It's wide open. The possibilities are unlimited. And so we did hit that, and we went way above it that day. It was our breakthrough day. And not only was it just for that day, but there were a few things that were sequences up to that. And it was a breakthrough for the entire business, really, not just for that particular day. So I think that's another aha kind of concept in doing the coaching with you, is that when we are changing and transforming from the inside out, it is not just a one-time thing. It is the ripple effects into our relationships, into our business, into so many things. It's beautiful. It's just beautiful.
That is story. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one was, and I don't remember exactly what we were coaching on that day, but the next day it was something with an employee, and I was struggling not with them, but with me, and kind of our differences. We both have, we complement each other's strengths and weaknesses, but I was having a hard time. And after your coaching, the exactly the following morning, I had the opportunity to put into place and utilize the skills to have that employee be heard and validated, and we had a win. We began to look at things as celebrations and wins. And so each day we start our day with talking about the wins from the day before, and it sets our tone. And that was something that we learned from that I learned from changing my thinking and coaching
Oh,
with.
I love that session. I was like, yes, because
Yeah.
really, you're setting your scope and to really just work on what's going on inside of you, and then it comes out everywhere else. The difference comes out. And I love what it did for your company, because it helped you. You're working on your life, your total life, mastering your total life. But what happens as a result is you're setting the culture for your company, and you're
Yep.
setting the culture for how you're going to run a company. You went from learning how to work on a business to actually being a business owner that day. I just remember
Mhm.
that. I was
Yeah.
out of my mind excited when all of that happened. That was
Yeah.
such a good story to share. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, just working with you and defining what it means to be a business owner and thinking those things through has really helped develop our company culture here. And our customers see it. And they'll say, "Oh, I see this and this." And I'll say, "That's part of our company culture." So I know that what the mindsets that are in place now through our work, and it is work that we do in the coaching, but it's so beneficial. And I see that other people see it too. That's my point, is our customers actually see those things. They can identify them. And that, to me, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I even remember some testimonies that you talked to me about even becoming seen and how you're
Mhm.
interacting with the public. And even how your viewpoint on what marketing really is. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. So marketing and marketing yourself can be a little intimidating, and because it just can be, but yet it has to be done. And we do need to be seen and known for customers to come in the door. And the change of mindset came with realizing these events can be fun. It can be fun and something to look forward to when we get to meet someone else and we get to have relationships with people in our community, and realizing that those folks in the community and people you're building relationships with, they have something to offer, and you can have a lot of win-win builds with each other. And so it became not just a challenge, but like fun to enjoy. It was something to enjoy, not just, okay, I just have to do this, not drudgery, not the grind.
No, I think that one happened in the week that we are talking about having adventure and making sure there's fun in your life. And how we came up with fun in your life is I'm going to go out and meet people and
Yeah.
bless them and serve them. And it's going to be an absolute blast. I love that.
And some of our best customers and partnerships have now come through that because of that. Yeah.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I would
So,
say don't be afraid. Just don't be afraid of change. I think that for so long I was afraid of change and wanted to stay stuck, but yet didn't want to stay stuck, but I was afraid to change. And wow, it is so worth it to make changes, to do the work.
I think how you show up makes so much difference because you're in a place where you would reach the threshold and you're like, I'm doing this. I am not going to give up,
Yeah.
and we're going to make this happen. And you were able to then tap into resourcefulness and creativity. And it was really cool to watch because you were still able to traverse this whole path without totally getting burnt out. Because, starting a business is a big deal and it takes a lot of work and a lot of hours and a lot of effort. But you were able to do this with some semblance of balance, even putting in routines in your life that just keep you in a good place. And I remember I think you went into a gym at one point and you ended up going, hey, I should probably go there and
Yeah.
participate in some of their activities, and it became a win-win, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so just looking at how do I do the next big thing in my life while doing it in a really healthy way, powerful, strong, and with
Yep.
the right attitudes and mindset. I mean, that really changed everything for you. It
Everything.
was really how you showed up. I knew the day I met you, I was like, this girl's going somewhere. I could tell because you were ready. You're like, I'm ready for change. I'm ready to do this
Yeah.
differently. I'm ready to see results in my life. And I'm like, I can work with that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so proud of you. So, how do you feel as a result of coaching?
Well, like a brand new person. I think if there were a pie of my life, I would say a piece of it is business and a piece of it is family and a piece of it is travel or whatever. But I would say probably like The biggest piece at this moment of my life to get me to this point was coaching. I would say like 70, not seven, what is that? Like a little less than half, like 45%. I wouldn't be this new person, determined, so purposed, more kingdom minded without the coaching.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So I'm curious, what would be the main concern that maybe could have prevented you from getting on and working with us here at Arrow's Edge?
You mean excuses?
Yeah, like what might have prevented you? And how did you
Um,
overcome those things that were preventing you?
well, there could always be a financial prevention. You know, you don't want to spend money on that kind of thing because you think it's not necessary. You think it's an extra. What I would say now is it's a necessity. It is absolutely a necessity to change our thinking. And for me, that came through coaching with you, the empowerment that it has brought. Okay, so other thing, time, do you want to put the time in for it? Would be something that would be restrictive at some point. Just not willing, just kind of procrastinating, like knowing you need to do it. And maybe you do have the finances and maybe you do have the time, but I'll just do it next year, or I'll do it another time. Or I would say, why wait? Absolutely, why wait?
That was going to be my next question. What would you say to that person who's battling with, is it worth my investment? Or maybe they're like, I've taken some stuff before and it didn't do anything for me. It didn't provide results. Or maybe it's like, I'm trying to open a business or write a book or start a ministry or, you name it. I don't have time to work on me right now. What would you say to those people?
Well, number one, you're missing out on fulfillment. You're missing out on the opportunity that's before you. But if you don't take the step into it, you won't get to where you want to go. So you have to just ask yourself the hard questions. And that's what this coaching has been. It is work. And sometimes it's not all feel good because you have to really look at the way you thought one way and that there's a better way. But if we don't do that work, we are going to stay in the same place, always wanting to write the book, always wanting to build the kingdom, wanting to leave something for my children. But you're going to stay right there unless you take a step forward. And for me, I knew I could not do this without taking a step forward, taking Rebecca's hand and walking through this. And I am a different person. And there's more joy, there's more faith, there's more determination, there's perseverance, I get to show up every day, even if it's 5 a.m, and stay late. It's okay because it's great. And it does provide energy and it does give you something to look forward to for the future. You're building something, and it's almost like the coaching is a rebuilding of your insides so that you can build something on the outside. So whatever your goals are, go for it. Don't hold yourself back anymore. If God is for us, who can be against us?
Wow. Come on, girl. I feel the same way. I have a coach. Every coach needs a coach. Everyone who works with inner healing needs inner healing.
Yeah.
Every business owner definitely needs somebody who's working with them. I'm a business owner and I know
Yeah.
that I need somebody working with me because I can't read the label on my own jar, right? We all need to be able to find our own blind spots
Yeah.
and grab onto those things and grab onto the right mindset and grab onto the right trajectory and keep our focus because it'll get us going where we're going much faster.
Yeah.
And we can avoid falling into a lot of pitfalls that we wouldn't have to otherwise, right?
Yes.
So I'm
Yes.
curious, and you may or may not have an answer to this one, but what would you say makes Arrow's Edge unique, different from the other programs you can take out there?
Well, the word that comes to my mind is genuine, real, and accountability. I had not taken a coaching before. And to be honest, I have always known I would love it and I think it's great, but very suspicious at the same time. And after talking with you, it's like spirit to spirit. It's not just, okay, I'm going to dump a bunch of information and you're going to help me sort through it. It's not that, because I think that's what I think happens sometimes. You just get to say stuff and then you maybe you feel better for a minute. But with Arrow's Edge, with you, it's validating what I'm feeling and experiencing, but it's also like heart to heart, spirit to spirit of understanding. And then the next step is bringing, and I don't know how you do it because you just pull stuff out of me when you ask questions, but it's very real and genuine, and from understanding what's within so that the outward can change. So it's just genuine, it's real, it's authentic. It doesn't feel like a lot of fluff, but we always have fun too. And we laugh and cry, and it's just the whole thing. I just highly recommend from
I
beginning
gotta
to
say, I
end.
have just as not much fun as my client working. You're right. We laugh, we cry, we have a blast. It's amazing.
And we change, and there's change, so that's the results, it's the results are there. So
I'm so
yeah.
glad that happened for you, because I'm really committed to results, which means not just changing behavior that'll go back to normal someday, to actually give true transformation that lasts, right? And
I'm
that's
never
what we
going
really
back.
want.
Yeah.
Yes, we are not
Yeah.
going back to the past.
No.
And so this is stuff that we carry with us as we go forward. That is so beautiful. So I guess last, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap this up? What would you like people to hear?
Well, because we've talked a lot about change, and I think I would like you to know change is possible. Change is real. Change will take you places that you want to go, but it's up to you to decide if you want to go or not from your heart. Because with this coaching, like I said, working with Rebecca and Coach Amber, it's a heart to heart thing. And in your heart, if you want change, you can have it. If you just are thinking it up here might be a good idea, it may or may not happen. But I want to encourage anyone who's deciding whether or not you want to be involved with Arrow's Edge. If you want change, go for it. Go for it with Arrow's Edge. Go forward. Make a difference in yourself. It will change everything around you. It will change the trajectory. And what you have on the inside is what you need. You just need Arrow's Edge to help you hit the target.
You're right. You have everything inside of you that you need. And it's our pleasure and joy to get to pull that out so that you can see it, and so that you can operate in it and step into all that God has for you.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. You do have that ability, God given, to help bring that out in people. And it is a beautiful thing. It's very valuable. And so if God partners someone watching, do it. Use it, Arrow's Edge to allow God to bring transformation to your life, because it's worth it.
Oh, Lydia, thank you for the pleasure of getting to serve you. And thank you for sharing your heart and your testimony so candidly and so vulnerably, and for everyone to see, because we want to encourage people just like you to step into everything that God has for them, all the potential that's inside of them. And sometimes we just need to hear a testimony of somebody who's walked the path before us to help us step in. You are amazing, and you have walked into such an incredible transformation. I cannot wait to share your story, because it's just priceless, and you're an absolute treasure. And I love how you walked into this whole season just in power, ready to change, ready to take it on, and ready to do whatever needs to be done. I'm so absolutely proud of you.
Thank you. Teamwork makes the dream work.
Oh, you know it. You know it. I would not want to be without my team. That is for sure.
Yep. 100%.
All right. So we're going to wrap up this. Go ahead and stay on, but we're going to wrap up the podcast. And I bless everybody that's listening. Thank you. I just hope that this encourages you to take some bold steps forward in your life.